What is going on, you 4,700 awesome individuals? So glad you're here. And if you're not subscribed, just take a second to do that real quick. I appreciate it, and it really helps the channel out. Every year in the United States, an average of 47 people get killed by lightning strikes. Now, mountain lions have killed 24 people in the last 100 years. What this shows us is that a lot of times the things we're scared of may not actually be the most dangerous, because I see a lot more searches and a lot more questions about mountain lion safety than I do lightning. Now, we're going to jump into what the experts say to do. And in this video, guys, we're really focusing on what you're going to do in a camping situation, in a backpacking situation, when you're out in the woods and exposed with no shelter, no buildings. What can you do to stay safe to the best of your ability? Now, we're going to talk about what experts say to do, and there is some conflict that we'll talk about. But at the end, make sure you stay tuned, if you will, or pay attention, because we're going to give you 2 tips that you don't see anywhere else, all right? These are tips that we at Restless Wanderer figured out through our research that make sense and we think would be beneficial, and of course aren't foolproof. We don't promise anything. There's no guarantees, but make sure to check that out because I do think it would help. Before we get into the advice, guys, let's look at some real video, real lightning strikes, to take a look what it is that we are dealing with. All right, this first video, guys, is a car camping situation. This is a cabin-style tent with a metal frame poles around it, and this tent is going to get struck directly. So let's take a look.
Oh my God! Oh my God! My ears!
I can't hear!
Oh my God! Mom, are you okay? Mom!
All right, so they were okay. They had busted eardrums. Everyone there survived. But again, there's a lot of debate. Should you be in a tent during a lightning storm? Is it more dangerous to be in a tent than to just be out, maybe sitting in a field or in by trees? A lot of people say don't go into tents, but this is an example of potentially some safety. It's not a car, it's not a Faraday cage, but it's something. Now, the other thing to take account of here is the air mattress. There's an air bed that they were sitting on, and there's a couple accounts that you can there's a couple accounts out there that you can find where people have had either their children on air mattresses or their entire family were on air beds. The people that were up on the air bed seemed to be okay. The people who were standing on the ground got hurt. All right, the next video we're looking at, guys, this is a very interesting one because we've got 2 different angles. We've got an angle right here that shows the incident. Then we've got an angle from the people who actually got hit. So you're going to see both sides of the lake here. Let's start with the first one.
Oh my God, babe, I just got shocked.
Fuck!
I just got... It did?
Yeah! They fell into the water, like near the water. We have to go help them. Where?
Wait.
And I'm pausing it for 1 second because, my God, how lucky are they across the way there? I mean, this is 6 miles in, they said, on a backpacking trip. I think it's Sequoia National Forest. And those people, if this other group wasn't here and they hadn't seen this, they wouldn't have had people to rescue them. So let's go to the other side of the lake, and here we are. Now, this is a father with his 2 children, little boy and a little girl. They're backpacking. It's the first trip he's taken with his kids. Now, I don't know if it's his first backpacking trip, but it's the first trip he took with his kids. So there's a cup. Now, first of all, I'm not knocking this guy because this storm apparently came in quick. They were fishing and they hunkered down. There are a couple things that you might be able to do here to tilt the odds in your favor. So let's take a look at what those might be as we go into this second video.
I also wouldn't want to be my fish right now.
Man, we picked a good day to come, a good weekend to come backpacking, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you see another one? What are these the faces of? Huh?
What?
What are these the faces of?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either, but
It's
they're
lightning.
not the faces of happy campers or happy backpackers right now.
you hate to see a dad sitting right here with his 2 kids. But guys, there's 2 big things that they could have done here. And it might have made a difference. It might not. One is get away from the water. Water attracts lightning. It's very conductive. There's many, many videos and studies that show how often lightning can hit a body of water. When you're sitting that close to a lake, even if it doesn't hit you, if that lightning bolt hits the lake, the discharge, the electricity, and all that power that's coming out of it could very easily affect you where you are or where these people are. Number 2, they're sitting against a tree and leaning against a tree. One of the number 1 no-nos when a lightning storm is going over you is not to sit underneath a tree directly against it. Okay, we'll get into something or some advice that you could do instead here in a second. But in the meantime, last video here, this is a guy named Brian. And this video is crazy, guys. Check this out. It is The World Hiker is his YouTube channel. We're going to have a link for his YouTube channel down in the description, so check it out. Subscribe. He's awesome. But watch this video because look how beautiful the day is. I just want you to see. Look at this. Watch how quickly it can turn.
Oh, I'm just checking to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. What is this buzzing? What is this buzzing sound? It's like electricity on the peak. I got to get moving here. I can hear it. I can hear it in me. I can hear it in the GoPro. It's time to get moving. My phone, I don't know if it's thunder and lightning coming into the area. I'm feeling a little bit of a kind of a shock. Wow, things have changed dramatically here in the 20 minutes since I got to the summit. I am eager to get a move on here as I have kind of had my views disappear in the clouds and the snow is coming in quick and all my stuff is buzzing. Ah, what is this sound? Oh. All right, as I expected, I knew there was some reason why all my stuff was buzzing. Just had the first burst of thunder behind me here. I am getting a move on quick here because I want to get off of the exposed summit ridge for sure.
Man, what an experience. I've never heard electronics buzzing like that. And did you hear not only the camera, but other things were just and that electricity in the air? That is an indicator that lightning is close, all right, and that there's electricity in the air. Another one could be that your hair is standing up, right? If that happens, potentially there's a lightning strike very, very close. Now, crazy experience, and he did the right thing. He didn't try to hunker down or protect himself under a ridge. He started running to get out of there, and that's honestly the best thing he could have done. Now that we've seen those real situations out there, those real scenarios of lightning strikes, let's talk about what the experts say to do, okay? The first thing that they're going to say, and pretty much across the board agree with, is avoid the situation if possible. When you're camping, when you're backpacking, you don't have structures to get into, so you can't really get out of the situation, but you can be aware of your surroundings, right? You can look at weather. You can look at weather patterns. You can try to pay attention with GPS to see if you have any updates coming in if possible. And really 2 things with the weather that you should look for, guys. The first I'm going to say is if you're looking at those mountain peaks and you see the mountains up there and you can see the clouds really start swirling and you're seeing that, not mist, but that whirling of snow and the wind moving in, that can be a sign that there's a storm front moving in. You might want to pay attention. You may not see what's over the edge of that mountain or on the other side of the mountain, if you will, but pay attention. And then when clouds do move in, right, which they're going to do in the mountains in the afternoon, which we'll get to in a second, make sure that when you start seeing them darken and you start seeing that color of the day, your shadow starts going away, that's a good sign, again, that you probably want to shelter. You want to start trying to find a place that's going to be the most safe, the most opportune place to shelter in that storm. Now, I talked about timing as well, right? In the mountains in the afternoon, clouds are going to move in with those storms typically around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Almost every day during lightning season, this is going to happen. So what you want to do is you want to hike early. You want to get your miles in while you can in the morning. And then by noon, by lunchtime, start finding camp so that by 1, you're hunkered down and you're safe while those storms roll through. Next thing you're wanting to do is don't sit by water. Get away from water bodies of water if possible, lakes, ponds, rivers. You just don't want to be close to those, all right? Also, you don't want to be directly on a tree. So don't find a single tree, right? You don't want to be on one single tree that's out in the middle of a field. Because if you are, again, that tree is going to be the highest point, most likely attract lightning, and you are not in a good spot. So find you a grove of trees. Don't sit against one, but find an opening where you're in between the trees. If you're in a group of people, also spread out. Don't sit next to each other. If one person takes a direct hit, you can then assist. You can try to do CPR, not CPR, I shouldn't say CPR, sorry. You can try to do first aid, whatever kind of first aid. If needed, CPR, hopefully not. But it's a good idea to spread out. And when I mention, guys, lastly here, before I get to the crouch, to the lightning pose, and the most controversial subject when it comes to lightning safety, the last thing, guys, if you're on peaks, and this should be the most obvious, but if you're up on peaks, right, like Brian was, or you're in a field or on a ridge, and there's no trees, no vegetation, you are the tallest thing. You are that lightning rod there. So you do want to try your best to get out of the situation. Do not shelter in those. Don't find a little crevice to hide in. Get out of there. Right? Now, the lightning crouch. This is, if you watch the news every year, they're going to tell you about the lightning crouch. If you go check weather.gov or the National Health Service, they'll say, don't do the lightning crouch. So when you look into it and you read why that is, guys, the main point or the main reason is if you think you're safe from the lightning crouch, you may not get out of the situation and you may stay too long and put yourself in a situation where you're in danger. So if you're hiking around and your hair starts standing up and your phone's squawking at you, the lightning pose may be the only thing you have. And what that is you cover your ears so your eardrums don't burst. You squat down as low as you can, and then you touch your heels together so that you create a little arc between your heels and hopefully can keep that electricity grounded down low. So experts at the end of the day say avoid the situation if possible. If you can't, shelter in the safest and smartest place that you can find. And if all else fails, yes, there is the lightning pose, but don't depend on it. Okay, it's there if needed, potentially. Now to end, guys, 2 pieces of advice that I haven't seen out there. We were doing research and really didn't see it out there, but easy things you can do to try and protect yourself in a lightning storm. Number 1, guys, is going to be earplugs. Cheap little earplugs. You can get a bag of these for probably $2. Most backpackers, not most, but a lot of backpackers out there are carrying them already. Some people sleep with these, and they're not that expensive or hard to put in, but boy, they could save your ears. So I think in a lightning storm, first of all, I'm going to carry these with me, but in a lightning storm, boy, it's a good idea to put these right in your ears and make sure that you have that protection in place so you don't have to worry about the thunder and the eardrums popping. Tip number 2, and we didn't really see it mentioned much, but there was a couple instances of survivors who were running, and they were running when other people were crouched down and hiding. These people running didn't get affected as much as the people who were crouching. In fact, almost didn't get affected at all because they were in the air or they had that one foot touching versus somebody crouched down with 2. So protect the ears, and it's so much easier to put earplugs in than have your hands like this and be running. Number 2, get out of the situation. Keep those feet off the ground as much as possible. Don't slip and fall, but man, get out of that situation if you can. Guys, I hope this helps a little bit or maybe throws a couple different ways for you to look at it. If you have ideas that I didn't touch on, or if I said something completely wrong, let me know in the comments, guys. I appreciate it. I'll get back to you. But other than that, I appreciate you watching. Hope you have a good day. Stay safe.